I think Usyk again. It's a tough fight. That Usyk guy is talented. He's so talented. He's so small for a heavyweight too. He's non-stop movement and his footwork and everything. It's so different than anybody else. Joshua didn't know what to do with him. He's like, where is this guy going to be when I'm throwing punches? He's a heavyweight, and the heavyweights were never really that good. Dubois is coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's coming into his. That guy's scary. He's dangerous.
Joe Rogan has just revealed his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Daniel Dubois and Oleksander Usyk. On the other hand, Frank Warren spoke with passion and confidence about the upcoming fight, emphasizing the history between the two fighters and their familiarity in the ring. He acknowledged Usyk's impressive record, especially against British opponents, but believes Usyk has shown signs of vulnerability, particularly in their previous meeting. Warren is confident that Daniel Dubois has learned from that experience and knows exactly what to do in the rematch. With all 4 major heavyweight titles on the line, Warren sees this as a potentially historic night for British boxing. Having spent 48 years in the sport and managed several British champions, he believes Dubois becoming the first to unify all 4 belts would be a truly remarkable achievement.
Well, it is, but they know each other. They've been in the ring together. They shared a ring together. I know he can hurt him. I know that Usyk, who I've got great admiration for, he's beaten every British fighter that he's been in with. But I believe that he has weaknesses, and it was nearly exploited in that first fight. I mean, that's the punch I always felt would give him problems. So Daniel knows what he's got to do in this next fight, and it's going to be a great fight. And as I said, it's historical because of the belts and so forth. If he comes through that, how bad is that? You know, 48 years I've been doing this now. I mean, for him to come through and do that, the heavyweight champion, and I've looked after a few British heavyweight world champions, but I think that would be something special. You know, the first guy to hold the 4 belts.
Moreover, Tony Bellew spoke candidly about the aftermath of Daniel Dubois challenging Oleksander Usyk, emphasizing that fighters now seek out Usyk because he is the top name in the heavyweight division. Bellew pointed out that Usyk holds the power in choosing his opponents, as he has become the major draw. He also gave credit to Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury for having the courage to face Usyk, acknowledging that not every fighter has stepped up in the same way. While he recognized that Dubois did step in the ring with Usyk, he reminded everyone of how that fight ended.
Daniel Dubois, he challenged Usyk in the ring after the fight.
These guys are begging now for the payday because they know who the king is.
That's right.
And these guys need him. He doesn't need them. Oleksander Usyk can choose to fight whoever he wants. He is now the draw in the heavyweight division. He is the big name. Yeah. And I take my hat off to Anthony Joshua, I take my hat off to Tyson Fury because they had the cojones to face him, as did Daniel Dubois. But let's not get away from anything. Daniel Dubois fought him once, and we've seen how that fight went.
Addressing the controversial body shot from their first bout, Bellew dismissed claims that it was a legitimate knockdown, asserting that the punch landed on the protective gear, which is specifically designed to shield against such blows. He argued that narratives around the belt line and what is considered a legal shot often shift to suit fan agendas. In his view, the facts speak for themselves. Usyk landed the shot on Dubois' protector, and in the end, Dubois was down on one knee, unable to continue.
Everyone goes on about a shot. Let's just be brutally honest, it hit the protector. Why is it called the protector? Because it protects you from certain shots. Was it like, did anyone look at the belt line of Tyson Fury before the fight?
It was high, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was,
really
I mean,
high.
I was going to ask what's the neck on them shorts.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It was nuts. But no one said anything.
No.
But then ultimately when Oleksander Usyk fights Daniel Dubois and his shorts are on his navel and you can clearly see his belly button at times in the fight, no one said, all of a sudden the shorts are high. So it's whatever suits people's narrative and agendas at the time. For people who are Fury fans, they want to say Usyk's done this or he's robbed that. For people who are Dubois fans, just look at the cold, hard facts. He hits him on the protector. The protector's called the protector for a reason. And then ultimately look at how the fight ended up. I mean, he had enough.
On his knees, wasn't he? By the end, on one knee.
However, Joe Rogan acknowledged the challenge of facing Oleksander Usyk again, praising his exceptional talent and unique style for a heavyweight. He noted that Usyk's constant movement, sharp footwork, and technical skill set him apart from others in the division, making it difficult for opponents like Anthony Joshua to even find him in the ring. Rogan emphasized that such advanced technique is rare among heavyweights and is more commonly seen in lighter divisions like middleweight or light heavyweight. He also highlighted that both Usyk and Vasily Lomachenko were trained by Lomachenko's father, which explains their shared mastery of elite boxing fundamentals.
I think Usyk again, it's a tough fight. That Usyk guy is talented. He's so talented. He's so small for a heavyweight too. He's non-stop movement and his footwork and everything. It's so different than anybody else. Joshua didn't know what to do with him. He's like, where is this guy going to be when I'm throwing punches? He's a heavyweight, and the heavyweights were never really that good.
Furthermore, Dave Coldwell said that Daniel Dubois is in a strong position mentally, showing confidence and determination ahead of a potential rematch. He acknowledged that Oleksander Usyk is now older and has endured a lot of physical wear, especially after the demanding fights with Tyson Fury, which may have drained him. However, Coldwell warned against underestimating Usyk, calling him a different kind of fighter, someone with a unique skill set and the ability to handle pressure. He pointed out that despite early trouble in their first encounter, Usyk managed to stay composed and eventually stop Dubois, not just winning on points, but securing a clear finish.
Good fight. Good fight. Where Dubois is now, he's very confident, very bullish, but Usyk's older, he's had more wear and tear. The fights with Fury have taken a lot out of him. Don't underestimate that. But Usyk's he's a different animal. He's a different animal. And ultimately, you got to remember, take away that one shot, whether you thought it was low or not, that one bit of drama, take away that. Yes, Usyk had a couple of uncomfortable moments early doors, but he does always. But he knows how to ride them out. And ultimately, he stopped Daniel Dubois. Don't forget, he stopped him. You know, he didn't just ping away at him and beat him on points. He stopped him.
According to Coldwell, the most important factor in a second fight would be how much Usyk has left physically and mentally. Usyk has faced many tough rounds and grueling matchups, and at this stage in his career, any decline could be crucial. Still, Coldwell believes that Usyk's experience and intelligence in the ring make him dangerous no matter what. He views the potential rematch as highly compelling, not just because of Dubois' improvements, but because it all hinges on whether Usyk can still perform at the highest level.
So, I wouldn't put it past Usyk pulling it off. You know, I think it's a real intriguing fight. I just think it depends. It's all about what Usyk's got left. That's what I think. It's all about what Usyk's got.
On the other hand, Joe Rogan said that Daniel Dubois is coming into his prime at 27 and is becoming a truly dangerous force in the heavyweight division. He described Dubois as scary, not just for his power, but for his relentless aggression and willingness to stay in the pocket and apply constant pressure. Rogan noted that in past fights, particularly against Anthony Joshua, it quickly became clear that Dubois' intensity was too much to handle, as Joshua couldn't match him in a toe-to-toe war.
Dubois is coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's coming into his own. That guy's fucking scary. He's dangerous. Aggression, too, man. He was so aggressive. He was just in the pocket constantly, just forcing Joshua to go to war. It was wild.
Moreover, Carl Frampton described the upcoming rematch as a really good fight and recognized that Daniel Dubois has become a more dangerous and improved fighter since their first meeting. He recalled that Dubois had some strong moments in the initial bout and shared his disappointment with how it ended, believing Dubois has a real chance this time. However, Frampton admitted that past experience, especially after doubting Oleksander Usyk in the Tyson Fury fights, has taught him not to bet against the Ukrainian. He praised Usyk as a boxing genius who doesn't rely on a fixed game plan, but instead adapts to his opponents as the fight progresses. Despite Dubois' progress, Frampton believes Usyk will come out on top again.
Really, really good fight. Dubois is a better fighter now than he was in the first fight, and he looked okay for periods in the first fight. Disappointed we've had ended as well, but Crawford, flip me, talking with the wrong fighters again. Dubois is certainly a much more dangerous fighter than he was, so he does have a chance to win the fight. But in saying that, I've backed against Usyk a couple of times, and specifically the Fury fights. I don't think I'm ever going to back against him again. I think the guy's a genius and he just finds a way. I don't even think he goes into fights with a game plan. He figures people out as the fight goes on. And yeah, Daniel has a better chance, but don't back against Usyk. I think Usyk wins the fight.
Chris Eubank Jr. said he believes Daniel Dubois is on a strong run, especially after his impressive win over Anthony Joshua. He acknowledged that Oleksander Usyk also has momentum on his side, making the upcoming fight a clash between two fighters at the top of their game. In Eubank's view, the outcome will hinge on mindset, who wants it more, and who can remain mentally composed when the pressure is at its highest.
I think Daniel Dubois, he's on a roll. He's coming off of a massive win against AJ. Usyk's also on a massive roll, so I think that fight's going to come down to mindset.
Duke McKenzie believes that if Daniel Dubois faces Oleksander Usyk again, Dubois will lose once more, likely getting outboxed and possibly even stopped. He views Usyk as unbeatable at the moment, comparing him to a Premier League player while the rest are in the lower divisions. Although McKenzie respects Dubois and acknowledges his improvement, he doubts Dubois has the ability to overcome Usyk. However, he does believe Dubois has the talent to defeat every other fighter in the heavyweight division.
Just tell me, head on the block now, does Dubois do it second time against Usyk? He gets outboxed, yeah?
He gets outboxed again.
Does he get stopped?
Quite potentially, sure. Nobody's beaten Oleksander Usyk. I don't want to make it sound too cliche, but for me, where heavyweight boxing is concerned, he's head and shoulders. He's Premier League and everybody else is First Division. As much as I like Dubois, and Dubois is improving all the time, still not got what it takes in my eyes to beat Usyk.
And finally,
beats everyone else, sir.
Yeah, he does.
Teddy Atlas expressed deep respect for both fighters, particularly Oleksander Usyk, whom he said he is close to. He praised them not only as boxers, but as remarkable men, highlighting Usyk's strength and character amid the war between Ukraine and Russia. Atlas admired how Usyk maintained his focus and continued competing at the highest level despite the devastating conflict affecting his homeland, demonstrating extraordinary mental toughness and unwavering dedication during such a difficult time for his people.
All right, I'll start with this. I love both guys. I have respect for both guys. And look, we're close to Usyk, so I'm not going to hide that. And I think a lot of both of them as men. Forget about fighters, as men. I think a lot of Usyk, the man he is, what he's done really for his country, to really fight during the pressure of his country being torn apart and invaded by another country, by Russia, and to fight during those times and that going on in his country with his people, and just, like I said, just destroying what he loves.
Teddy Atlas also expressed deep respect for Daniel Dubois, admiring not only his skills as a fighter, but also the growth he has shown as a person. He acknowledged Dubois faced significant challenges, including physical setbacks like the eye injury against Joe Joyce and the controversial body shot from Oleksander Usyk. However, Atlas emphasized that boxing is ultimately about overcoming adversity, and he believes Dubois is beginning to embody that true champion mindset.
Ukraine. And I also have a lot of respect for Dubois, for the man he is and what he's become.
Atlas admitted that during the fights with Joyce and Usyk, Dubois appeared to give in mentally and emotionally as much as physically, yet he praised Dubois for his comeback, highlighting the 3 tough fights he took on afterward. Atlas believes Dubois' motivation went beyond money, as it was about proving something to himself, discovering his true character, and restoring his pride. For Dubois, the journey is about facing the world with dignity and being proud of the person he sees in the mirror every day.
Yeah, he gave in. I thought he gave in. He broke down. Mentally, emotionally, whatever you want to call it. Physically. But I think more mentally in both the Joyce fight and the Usyk fight. But he came back. He redeemed himself. And he did what you said. He fought those 3 tough fights. And those fights, I think he would have fought them for free. At least the first 2. Because it was about redeeming himself. It wasn't about getting paid. It was about finding out who he was. Finding out what kind of man he was. It was really about living the rest of his life with pride instead of the opposite, with some shame. It was really about being able to get up every day and go outside and feel good about who walks outside on the road and what people are going to see. It was really about looking in the mirror and liking what was looking back at.
Simon Jordan believes that Daniel Dubois' moment has arrived and insists he holds no bias in that view. He described Dubois as a fierce warrior who truly deserves the praise he's receiving. Jordan admired how Dubois entered Wembley Stadium with the confidence and presence of a gladiator. He's pleased to see Dubois developing not only as a fighter, but also as a man, growing more self-assured and skilled at handling the media. Looking ahead to the July 19th fight, Jordan expects a spectacular event and believes Dubois must secure a knockout or stoppage, as he doubts a points victory is likely.
I said it to Oleksander Usyk, and there's no favoritism here. I think it's Daniel Dubois' time. I think he's a ferocious beast. Yeah, absolutely. and I think he deserves all the plaudits. I think what walked into Wembley Stadium was an absolute gladiator, and I'm thrilled for him that he's coming out of himself, growing as a man, becoming more worldly and able to communicate with the media, and I think it's going to be a fabulous fight. Do
you believe that he can get it done inside the distance?
I think he has to get done inside the distance.
Yeah. You don't think he can win on points?
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely. But whatever, July 19th, brilliant fight.
Don Charles shared that he and Daniel Dubois have been working closely together for 24 months, beginning with an intense 14-month training camp leading up to their first fight. He emphasized how much Dubois has developed during that time, including becoming a world champion and defeating elite opponents. Charles believes their progress is part of a higher divine plan. He also raised questions about Oleksander Usyk's faith, suggesting that if Usyk truly follows God, then dishonesty in God's name would be a grave sin.
Well, we've been together now for 24 months. We did, that first fight was 14 months camp, and new fighter, new trainer, relationship. Now, 24 months later, can you imagine? And you've seen what he's done in between that time, from the Usyk fight to now, what he's gone and done, and become a world champion. And the personnel there has been on the way. That suggests to how far he's come. And we're going to top it up by, this is all meant to be, this has all been written by God. The God that I worship. I question Usyk about his religious beliefs, because if you're a godly person like he prides himself on, how can you lie behind in the name of God? That's a sin, a big sin.
However, Daniel Dubois expressed strong confidence ahead of his upcoming fight, saying that facing a top champion naturally fuels his desire to win. He respected Oleksander Usyk's accomplishments, but believes Usyk's era is over and now it's his time to shine. Dubois emphasized that he is focused, prepared, and determined. Regarding the disputed body shot from their first fight in Poland, Dubois stood firm that the punch was clean and legitimate. While he acknowledged the debate, he stressed that what matters most is having the chance to settle the score once and for all. He also highlighted how much he has grown as a fighter since then, and is eager to prove to fans that he is stronger, sharper, and ready to take the next step in his career.
As a fighter, you see them and you see what they've done, and then, you know, when you get the opportunity, I want to win. I want to beat him as well. He's been up there a while, and he's had his day. So now is my time. I'm really confident and ready to fight.
Do you still try to tell us that 2 years ago in Poland you beat Oleksander Usyk?
It was about that, you know. It was, in my opinion, that was a proper body shot. I mean, you know, I could go over it and over it, but it was a body shot that landed, and now I have a chance to clear up the controversy, you know, just wipe the slate clean. You know, I've come back, you guys have seen I've come back a new man, a different man, a new fighter, and I'm just excited to show that I'm on the rise.
On the other hand, Usyk just stated that boxing is a demanding sport and expressed respect for all fighters, including Daniel Dubois. He recognized the challenges of the sport and praised everyone who commits to training.
It's a good fighter. It's a boxer. Listen, I respect all who boxing in gym, because I know it's very hard. I respect all my opponent. Daniel too.
Including him. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.